All right, looks like we live. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and others of great millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect. I'm the brother Aina from GMS Dallas, and have the elder Yatazak here as well.
Shalom.
Okay, from GMS Dallas, and let me just check this stream real quick. For some reason, something looks off.
Okay. I try to pull up YouTube on this weak ass laptop.
Okay, yeah, we live. It's just not showing the timestamp for some reason, so that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Shalom, brothers. Shalom. All right. Yeah, man, we're continuing this. We're continuing the series, second Esdras. Right. We got down to chapter well, we're in chapter 5, but we got down to verse uh 19, all right, at the end. And basically we're going to be continuing on from there. Lord willing, we'll be able to go through the entirety of the rest of the chapter, Abaratazah. And basically when you go through the first half of this chapter, it's a vision, a vision that Ezra received from the angel, what I'm saying, after being in the spirit, praying, fasting, and we're going to get some of the scriptures, like this is signs of the end that we read at the end of that chapter from last week. So go ahead and check that video out if you want to get the first half of the chapter, or the first 20 verses of the chapter. And the second part is going into Ezra's prayer, after he fasted that 7 days, 7 days, after receiving the vision, right? So without further ado, we'll get straight into it. Unless you had anything, Zaquan, feel free to stop me.
No, let's rock.
All right, this is Second Ezra chapter 5 and verse 20. Okay, it says, "And so I fasted 7 days, mourning and weeping." And when you fast, um, obviously you're getting close. You cutting off the flesh. So you're getting closer to the Spirit of the Lord. You're basically casting your flesh off. You know what I'm saying? You're casting off the flesh, and you're getting closer to the Spirit. You know what I mean? That's why dogs, certain animals when they sick they don't eat. You know what I'm saying? Because they're trying to get their strength back, and get back recuperated, and basically fasting helped Ezra get in that zone, get in that mode more. So it's a common denominator that you're going to see. Fasting. Whenever it talks about fasting, that's when your spiritual level increases. Okay, it says so I fasted 7 days, mourning and weeping, like as Uriel the angel commanded me. And after 7 days, so it was that the thoughts of my heart were very grievous unto me again, and my soul recovered the spirit of understanding, and I began to talk with the Most High again. So Ezra was deeply troubled, you know, and we see that as well. When you go to Daniel, I'll get a couple examples. Daniel, when he was receiving the visions, because Daniel was also receiving visions as well. He was basically deeply troubled as well, because basically you can't help but think about the state of um of Israel. You can't help but think about how we've fallen from grace, like the scriptures say the angels which changed out their first estate. That's us, man. We used to be um the scriptures say the Lord created man to be immortal, so we've fallen. The scriptures say, remember from whence thou art fallen, you know. So this is Daniel chapter 7 and 28, and this is after he received the vision. Daniel 7, the four beasts, vision of four beasts, right? And it says in verse 28, hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, now this is Daniel's reaction after he received that vision. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much troubled me. Let me get that word cogitations, but basically your mental state. You know what I'm saying? He was troubled in his mind. Um, okay. It says, Rai your one, Raya one, thoughts, cogitation, you know, mental conception. You know what I'm saying? Basically, his thoughts much troubled him, right? Um, it says, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in mine heart. Okay, so when the Lord gives us, these visions, man, it's a heavy spirit that comes upon us, and our flesh. Even in the next chapter, there's another example here. You know what I'm saying? Our flesh was, our flesh can get, it's the scriptures say, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So the flesh can get weak. I mean, when you fast and you weakening your flesh anyway, you know. But this is after Daniel received the vision. Grecian Empire, how the Grecian Empire was going to overthrow the Medo-Persian. When you go to Daniel chapter 8, and it says in verse 27, and I Daniel fainted and was sick certain days. Afterward, I rose up and did the king's business. Right. So after he received the vision, he literally got sick. You know, and it says, and I was astonished at the vision, but none understood it. You see, so the time that these men received these visions, they didn't immediately just get the breakdown, man. Scriptures talk about that. They didn't immediately understand everything in totality.
And,
How
and that's how and that's how the Lord set it up. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? You see, I can't think of a certain movie topic, but you see situations where, say it's a time travel show. You got shows where they traveling through time, and when you travel through time, say you start out in 2025, you know, and you go back in time. Well, when you go back in time, you're gonna leave little nuggets so that you can stumble upon those in the future. You know what I'm saying? So the Lord, through prophecy, reincarnation, and things that are hard to be understood, it shows you how the prophets of old wrote things down that they might not have understood or they didn't understand, so that it can be explained later through the prophets coming back. You see, the spirit of the prophet is subject to the prophet. You see,
Mm-hmm.
this is where all these precepts come in at. You see, so when it talks about Daniel sealing up the book, then the book being opened back up in Revelation, that's what I'm saying. It was written down, not understood, but now they have no need to write unto us, because now we can explain what these things are about. When you talk about arrows being shot from across the world, they're talking about missiles. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about eyes being consumed in their holes and tongues being melted out, they're talking about thermonuclear destruction. You see,
Right.
when they talk about it will come a time where men won't understand sound doctrine. Now that's talking about those same false prophets back in the day. They back. The false prophets and the normal prophets are all back. You see, and we're explaining these things. You see how the false prophets are bringing up all this bullshit, and then the real prophets are like, "Nah, nigga, back that up." You see, these things were written
Right.
aforetime, so we can explain them today. If that makes sense to the
Right.
listener. You got it.
Mm-hmm. It's all through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai that we have the understanding of these dark sayings now. So this is continuing back here, Second Ezra chapter 5 and verse 23. All right, this is the prayer that Ezra was praying. It says, and said, this is Ezra praying, praying to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. It says, O Lord, that bearest rule of every wood of the earth and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee one only vine. Okay. And this is letting you know right here, all right, that the Lord is only dealing with Israel, man. Okay. But we'll keep going and then we'll stop after a few verses. It says, and of all lands, the whole world thou hast chosen, excuse me, and of all lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit,
Now
meaning
keep in
one
mind,
lowland.
keep in mind the word chosen is the key, right? The Lord has chosen these things. You see, everybody got their favorite pair of shoes, everybody got their favorite shirt, everybody got their favorite hat, their favorite car, their favorite whatever. The Lord is
Con.
the same. You see, if the Lord chose a lily, a rose can't do nothing about it.
Yep.
It's
That's
that
right.
simple, man. I would say people want to make it that or that. That's what I'm saying. Just because the Lord made all the flowers, yes. But that's what I'm saying. He has a favorite out of everything that was made. Yahweh Shai is his favorite.
That's right.
He got a favorite.
You know, how you gonna have variety without a favorite, man? You know,
That's what I'm
but
saying.
everybody
People
wants.
got
Yeah.
everybody got a favorite everything, man, no matter what it is. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah, and to think that the Lord is different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's it? You got all this disrespect and disobedience and no fear. No fear. I'm saying it tell you that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of the wisdom. But you see people with no fear to think the Lord's supposed to deliver them any goddamn way. Go ahead.
Right. It says, and of all the flowers thereof, one lily. Okay. So these are letting you know the Most High's favorite things. You know, his favorite type of wood. You know, favorite type of land. You know, his favorite land mass. You know, his favorite flower. Right. Verse 25. And of all the depths of the sea, thou hast filled thee one river. All right. And um, of all builded cities, thou hast hallowed Zion unto thyself. You
Zion
see?
meaning the monument. You know what I'm saying? The
Mhm.
Lord's memorial. Okay.
That's right. Yep. It says, verse 26, and of all the fowls that are created, thou hast named thee one dove.
See that? I'm
You
saying
know,
the dove is the Lord's favorite bird. Esau's
Mhm.
favorite bird is the eagle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The Lord could have made the eagle his favorite bird, but it's telling you it's a dove.
Right. Yep. Pure. You know what I'm saying? You can't sacrifice an eagle, you know what I'm saying, as a peace offering, but you can sacrifice a turtle dove, you know, and that's a clean bird, by the way, a dove, you know what I mean? And then the eagle is unclean. You can't eat it. You know what I'm saying? But just a side note.
Like
um
a nigga, I would say Esau tell you buy some eagle tacos.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
nigga,
Vocab alone,
yeah,
he'll be first in line.
yeah, nigga, smoke an eagle. I smoked this eagle on the pit 5 hours.
Man, through.
Nigga, smoked eagle meat, nigga, you tripping?
Facts. 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 You know? Yep. It says, and it says of all the fowls that are created, thou hast named thee one dove. And notice the dove too. What is that? Genesis, I think that's 7, right? With the flood. The Lord allowed matter of fact, let me get it first. Let me just get it real quick. When the after the 40 days, you know what I'm saying, the dove was the first one to
Yeah.
come back with some plants,
Yep.
Okay, 8. So like you're not chapter 7, it's chapter 8. Genesis. Because before that it was a crow, I think, right? Let me see. Let's see. Genesis 8. Uh, okay, and a raven. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Verse 6. It says, and it came to pass at the end of 40 days, right, that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made, and he sent. It's after it stopped raining. Because it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. So after it stopped raining, he said, "Okay, let's send out this raven, because ravens are smart animals. They're smart birds. You know what I'm saying? From what I understand, they're very smart. You know, but so he let the raven out. It says, which went to and fro until the waters were dried up from off the earth. It says, and he also sent a dove from him to see if the waters were abated from off the face of the ground. But the dove found no rest for the sole of her foot, and she returned unto him into the ark, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. When he put forth his hand, then he put forth his hand and took her and pulled him into the ark. Right? It says, um, after 7 other days, and again, excuse me, and he stayed yet 7 other days, and again he sent forth a dove out of the ark, and the dove came in to him in the evening, and lo, and her mouth was an olive leaf. And that wasn't
Man.
random either. You know what I'm
Woo.
saying? The oil, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from off the earth. You know what I'm saying? So but the raven didn't come back and do that. You know what I'm saying? The raven, who knows? It could have, it didn't come back with those glad tidings. So he
It
sent the
didn't
dove
mention it no
instead.
more. Yeah, it didn't
Yeah,
mention it no more.
you know. So everything, man, everything's spiritual, bro. You know what I'm saying? Little details like that, I like, like to notice. But um, it says in verse 6.
Also,
Uh-huh.
before you move on, can you go to the Google
Uh-huh.
and what's the significance of the number 40?
Okay.
Yeah, because those 40 days and 40 nights, that number 40 is very heavy in Israelite history. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The last time I looked it up, it said that it represents a major change. Let's see what it say now,
Okay.
because
What's the
they'll change that
significance?
shit.
Right, right, right. Okay.
40 means you're fucked. No, it don't.
Right. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is the AI overview. It says the number 40 in the Bible often signifies a period of testing, trial, okay, or preparation that leads to a significant transformation or new beginning.
You see
You
that?
know, yeah, kind of.
That's very important because you see so many accounts with that number 40. You know what I'm saying? And when you get into those accounts, you see the inspiration. You know what I'm saying? You see what the Lord is doing when it comes to that 40. So I just wanted to just throw that little nugget out there because you had mentioned 40 a second ago when you was reading about how long it rained, how many days and how many nights. You know what I'm saying? And the change that came from that 40 days and 40 nights was epic, you know? You got it.
Kind of, that's right. That's right. That's right. So going back here to we're in here, second Esdras, all right, chapter 5 and verse 26. All right. In the middle, verse 26, it says, and of all the cattle that were made, thou hast provided thee one sheep. See, nothing is accidental, man. You know what I mean? The sheep that has a huge resemblance, but that's the resemblance with many things, I should say. But within Israel, we're likened unto the sheep of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Yahushua said, "My sheep hear my voice." A sheep
Yep.
is
And ain't
is the
none of them,
first.
ain't none of them sheep heathen.
No, hell no.
It say my sheep heard my voice. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So when the Lord told Peter to feed my sheep and feed my lambs, you know what I'm saying? He's talking about Israelites, man. Period,
con.
point blank. You can try
No,
to
yeah,
wiggle everybody else in there if you want to, but you're gonna run out of precepts trying to do it. You know what I'm saying?
con.
Because we're gonna take the precepts that you using for your aha moment, you know what I'm saying, and just tell the truth about them. You know what I'm saying? It's to the
Con.
point now. Yeah, it's to the point now to where shit, Jake changing everything up. I seen Jake talking about the Nephilim made it through the flood and all kind of crazy stuff. But hey, hey, we just gonna tell the truth about it. You know what I'm saying? The Nephilim is actually Israelites that fell away.
Right, and it's not.
These
I
if
mean,
if these
like,
niggas come out here talking about giants, you know they done. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah,
con.
if they come but talk about 45-foot niggas and giants and all this type of stuff, man. When that ain't what it's talking about, you already know. You know what I'm saying? It's time to leave. It's time to leave them by the wayside.
Right. True. You know what I'm saying? They've gone the way of Cain. But
Mm-hmm.
but it says in verse 27, and here's the point, and among all the multitudes of people thou hast gotten thee one people.
One people. Get Deuteronomy 76 real quick.
Yep, that's what I was literally about to get next. Uh,
Yeah.
I got it right here.
And can't
All right.
nobody do nothing about it.
That's right. That's right. Deuteronomy 7 and 6. It says, for thou art an holy people unto Yahweh Hashem Yahushua thy power. All right. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the
Very
face of the
chosen.
earth. Come on. So like you said, get the word for chosen?
Yeah.
Okay. That's right. Above all people, man. But Jake.
Which is racist.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you prefer your people over anybody else. That don't mean you want to kill them. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean you want to beat them up. That mean you just prefer your own. See?
Yeah.
And the Israelites are his own. Israel, right? Yasha Allah, Yah, he, Prince, Shar. You know what I'm saying? Allah, power. He's a prince of the power. That's what I'm
That's right.
saying. It is what it is. You got it.
Yeah. All right. That word there is Bachar, which we know is the elect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bachar, chosen, choice, elect. You see, to be selected, to be chosen. So the Lord chose, man. He chose everything, to be his favorite. You know what I'm saying? He has a favorite, animal, favorite days, the Lord's Sabbath, everything, man. Day of the week, I should say. Right?
Yep. And then when you get Greek in the when you get elect in the Greek, it's eklage, which goes into the Lord choosing certain persons to deliver through Yahweh Shai through grace.
That's right.
So that's we rolling with that. The
That's
Lord said, "I'm picking certain people. I'm not picking everybody." Okay, that's what you want us to tell them, Lord. Then we gonna go tell them.
right.
It ain't here or for, but that's what we fair with it. We tell you the truth, which is Israel was scattered amongst all nations and sprinkling seed. So you
Yeah.
got Israelites that's gonna look like the nations where they were scattered, and then he's gonna pick those Israelites and bring them back home. That's the story.
Mm-hmm.
So we gonna roll we gonna roll with what's true. Saying not shock value and gay shit.
Right. That's what it is. Right? What is that? Isaiah 8 and 20, to the law and to the testimony. If they speak
Mm-hmm.
not according to this word, is because there's no light in them. They're not all Israel, which are Israel. So,
Matter of
you
fact,
know,
get that. Yeah, get that, and then look up the word for light.
okay.
Yeah,
Isaiah 8,
and 20.
con.
Yep.
Isaiah 8. Yep, yeah, I got you. Is Isaiah chapter 8 and 20, it says, to the law and to the testimony.
Right to the
All right, the
law,
law. Yeah, yeah,
right,
con. Got it.
and the testimony. See, because the Lord comes in the volume of the book. It's all written of Him. So for the law
Con.
and the testimony, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the testimony is the prophecies, the law and the testimony, the law and the
Laws
prophecies,
and the
right?
prophets.
God, right? What they say, uh, the Nevim and Ketuvim, that's what the self-proclaimed, you know, uh, small, little tiny cap, that's what they
Yeah,
call it. You know what I mean? But it says, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
you see.
Okay.
So you got these guys. That's what, bro. Everybody, all the Israelite groups outside of us and our affiliates is changing the doctrine up. All of them.
Mhm.
So it ain't no light in the 2/3. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? It's some of the 2/3 is better off than y'all because y'all know better.
Yeah.
You know the truth
Yeah.
and lie about it.
Con. Right. That word for light is Strong's H7837 shachar, and it says morning, day spring, dawn, uh literal, figurative, or adverbial, light in the morning which riseth. Let's see if there's anything specific on this verse here.
Word.
I'm sorry, you said the root word? Okay, hold on.
Is it a
It's
root
the
word?
same. Yeah, the root word is shachar as well. It says to seek early or earnestly or to look diligently for.
Look
So
diligently for
basically,
what? The prophecies.
that's right, Con. Yep. Yeah, to seek betimes, to seek diligently in the morning. You get up early. You know what I'm saying? And there's a part here, referencing here. It says, let me see, dawn. Uh, let's see. Okay, it says it's not very. It says it's obscure specifically, but
Okay.
the
I just
the
wanted to
reason.
see what it said.
Yeah, yeah, kind of. I was gonna say, the light. Okay, so the dawn is the beginning, right? And then dusk is the end, right? So dawn is the beginning of the morning, like sunrise. So that's the transition from darkness to light. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? That's the transition from darkness to light. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I get from it. So
That
with
makes
that
sense
being
like a
said,
mug.
yeah, yeah, kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because Esau, he can't break everything down, but it's okay. Uh, it says in verse 27, back in Second Esdras 2, I'm sorry, Second Esdras 5 and 27, it says, and among all the multitudes of people thou hast gotten thee one people, and unto this people whom thou lovest, thou gavest a law that is approved of all. Right. And that's when we go to, I like to go to Deuteronomy 4 for this one.
Yep. Psalms
Uh,
147 too.
Yep, that one's definitely, Deuteronomy 4. I want to say, is it verse 7? Let's see. Um,
What you looking for?
this is it right here. I got it right
Okay.
here. Yeah. So reading that verse again. Um, it says, and among all, and this is Second Ezra 5 and 27, and among all the multitudes of people, thou hast gotten thee one people, whom thou lovest, and gavest a law. Whom thou lovest, thou gavest a law that is approved of all. Meaning, basically, nobody can deny that it's righteous. So
And we agreed to it.
right,
The nation that he chose agreed to the covenant.
that's right. You know, so this is it right here in Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 6. It says, keep therefore and do them, talking about the laws and statutes. It says, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. So this actually makes us look good amongst the heathen, because this is godly knowledge. This is
Mhm.
wisdom from on high. The Lord hasn't given this to the heathen, which we'll get that in Psalms, you know. But it says, this is your for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes. Right, because at this point, we got dominion over the land, and the fame of Yahweh, all right, the God of Israel, was spread all throughout the land, right? So it says, this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Even various different heathen, they saw the wisdom, they saw the spirit that was on David. He was moving in wisdom. The spirit of the Lord was dealing with him, and he was able to befriend them, and kind of make sure that he what does the scripture say, be at peace with his enemies. you know
Yep. Look, you see how much peace it was with Solomon. That's a prelude
right.
to Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you can't invite nobody else into that. You know what I'm saying?
Con.
The Lord set it up so we can, so the nations can look at us as the righteous, seeing that glow, seeing how we move. You see, being at peace with every. We gonna be so cold with bro. We gonna beat their ass as payback, but then after that, we gonna subdue our enemies just like King David did for Solomon. See?
That's right.
When the Lord come back and establish that 1 year reign, that first day of forever. After that, I would say after that is it's on. You know what I'm saying? It
That's
say
it.
when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. See,
Con.
you got it.
That's right. All right, so that was it on that. Going back here, Second Ezra's, all right, 5 and 28. This says, and now, O Lord, why hast thou given this one people over unto many, and upon one root thou hast prepared others. Similar questions to what he was asking in chapter 2 as well, right? It says, and they, oh, I'm sorry. In the middle of verse 28, it says, and upon one root thou hast prepared others, and why hast thou scattered thy only one people among many? Being polluted.
And that go back to Deuteronomy. It's a part of the
Mhm.
agreement. I would say every Ezra is pretty much gonna answer his own question. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That people that you gave the law that everybody approved of. So why we up under all these nations? Because we broke
Huh.
the covenant. You know,
That's right.
you got it.
It says, verse 29, and they which did gainsay thy promises and believe not thy covenants have trodden them down. The heathen, what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You know, they never, what does scripture say? Thou never darest rule over them. See if I can find that real quick. You know, talking about the heathen, man. Yeah, here we go. All right. The heathen, the Lord never bear rule over the heathen. This is Isaiah 63 and uh and 18. It says, "The people of thy holiness have possessed it but a little while." Talking about the Holy Land. Our adversaries have trodden down thy sanctuary. We are thine. Thou never bearest rule over them. Okay, talking about the heathen. The Lord never, dealt, he was never dealing with the heathens, man. Okay, and that didn't change just because the Israelite foreigners were brought back, into the fold. If they believe, that's still amongst the nation of Israel. Okay, so that still counts. Okay, as really not being, even though they were estranged from their, we were estranged from our heritage, we're still according to the Spirit. Still Israelites according to the Spirit, man. 12,000 out of each tribe. The elect, right? So it says, "We are thine. Thou never bearest rule over them. They were not called by thy name." See? So yeah, man, the Lord never dealt with these other nations, right?
Yep, that's
And,
what I said. Out of all the nations, we the only begotten. You see,
right, yeah,
just like I was, it's always been that chosen line. It was all the men of the Lord had brothers. The Lord was dealing with that certain brother, with the only begotten. You know what I'm saying? It go through the history. It tell you how many brothers Seth had, how many brothers Enos had, how many brothers. You know what I'm saying? It tell
right,
you how many brothers they had, but it tell you which one he was dealing with, and that's where you get the and that's where you get the distinction between his favorites and those that ain't.
mm-hmm,
It's not a hard concept. You know what I'm saying?
right,
This devil done told you the Lord loved you no matter what, and he done convinced you. I was, hey, it is what it is. We was convinced of lies too for a certain point, but then the law saw fit for us to wake us up, to open our minds to where we can understand the scriptures.
uh,
I grew up in the church, back and forth between Pentecostal and goddamn Baptist. One church, you know what I'm saying? And did neither one of them churches tell me I was Israelite? Did neither one of them tell me that the Lord was a dark skinned man? Did neither one of them tell me that the Edomites was the enemy? You know what I'm saying? They didn't tell us none of that.
right.
So for the Lord to open us up, that's what I'm saying. That's a blessing. And he opened up they understand it so that they can understand the scriptures. You see? You got it.
Uh, right. It says, verse 30, "If thou didst so much," hold on. Uh, Hold on. Let me read verse 29. It says, "And they which did gainsay thy promises and believe not thy covenants have trodden them down." Talking about the heathen. It says, "If thou didst so much hate thy people, why shouldest thou punish them with thine own hands?" Right? Meaning, like, basically, if he wanted us to get destroyed, what I'm saying, as a nation, at the point at that time in Ezra's eyes, they were downtrodden. He was like, "Lord, why you don't just judge us direct? Like, it's even worse to put the heathen over us." You know what I'm saying? It's even worse. It's more embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? And Jake is so comfortable being slaves, like they're really trying to save the. That's why we say Stockholm syndrome, man. You know what I'm saying? Like these heathen, bro, they're vile. You know what I'm saying? They're literally
Man,
meant to be servants. And what's so
nasty
funny?
e hell.
Con. And Esau, what's so funny? Esau with his reverse, backwards ass, he understood, I'll say he had a rulership mentality, even though, obviously he's the servant, walking upon the horse, you know what I mean? He's supposed to be in captivity, but he understood, as backwards as he is, he understood rulership mentality and saying, look, he genuinely looked at so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans as pets. Look it up.
Mm-hmm.
He looked at us as advanced pets, which is why uh, he put us like cattle. You know what I'm saying? He bred us like dogs. You know what I'm saying? You know, and so
Can't forget
there
about the
is,
brandy.
right. Yeah, branded us. You know what I'm saying? All of these different things, right? But if he turns around, 2% of those guys, if they turn around and say, "Yeah, yeah, how was shot?" They can make it. Fuck out of here, man. You know,
Yeah, I would say that's what I'm saying. How the heathen go keep the commandments and get delivered when it didn't even work for Israel?
through.
Like, come
There's so
on,
many.
man. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. The heathen that keep the law, statutes, and commandments can get salvation. Israel couldn't even do it, but they gonna do it. Like, come on, dog. That's what I'm saying. You got Satan on you, man.
Oh yeah,
That's a demon that whispered that in your ear.
yeah, yep. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah, nigga
right.
Beelzebub up.
Yep. So, verse 31, it says, "Now when I had spoken these words, the angel that came to me, to me the night afore was said unto me, and he said unto me, Hear me, and I will instruct thee." Right? It says, "Hearken to the thing that I say, and I shall tell thee more." And I said, Speak on, my Lord. And he said unto me, Thou art sore troubled uh, in mind for Israel's sake. Right? Lovest thou that people better than he that made them? You know, there's no way that we can love Israel more, than the Most High loves Israel. You know what I'm saying? There's no way, right? And so that means that if he's allowing this to happen, then it's justified, man. And it doesn't mean that he doesn't love us. It just means that we gotta catch hell. Okay. It says, "But I said, No, Lord, but of very grief have I spoken. For the reins pain, for my reins pain me every hour while I labor to comprehend the way of the Most High and to seek out part of His judgment." you know. So, hey, man, who can understand the scriptures? Say, who can understand the mind of the Yahweh Shem Yahushai? You know, and there's no way that we can just understand everything unless the Lord reveals it to us, man. And a lot of times it takes time, for the Lord to reveal things unto us. A lot of time it takes time, man. Imagine if we knew like everything that we was gonna go through as a nation, man. Like we'd probably bug out. You know what I'm saying? If we knew that we was gonna go into this captivity, then that captivity, you know what I mean, and go through all these things, you know, you know what I'm saying?
I
Or if
couldn't.
we
I
knew,
was. I couldn't imagine. Yeah, I couldn't imagine knowing what's gonna happen if
yeah,
Esau get a hold of a nigga. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
Con,
Yeah, if Esau get a hold of a nigga, he know who you is already. He know you been bringing it out. He know you standing up for y'all by Shem Yahushua. You know what I'm saying? When you read about them accounts, now we got accounts to where the prophet didn't feel nothing. We got accounts to where the Lord Himself felt everything. You know what I'm
hmm,
saying? That's what I'm saying. It's like prophesying in part in your own walk. Yeah, I know I'm gonna have to deal with adversity, but I don't need to see exactly what it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying?
hmm,
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because if we see it ahead of time, we'll be like, hell no, I ain't signed up for this. You know how Jake is.
Con, man,
Jake
facts.
doing that, and it ain't even got hard yet. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine Jake. Just imagine the Lord showing us Jacob's trouble and us tied up and all that shit now. You know?
Hmm. Yeah, or your
No,
first
he
fruits of the
didn't set
church.
it up like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you
He
know what I'm
told us
saying?
no matter how crazy it looked, he got us. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So that's what we gonna roll with. I will say even with what we dealing with right now. You know what I'm saying? We don't have the answers to everything, but the Lord said it's gonna be okay.
Hmm. Right. It says in verse 34, I'm sorry, verse 35, it says, "And he said unto me, Thou canst not," meaning cannot understand the way of the Most High, right? It says, "And I said, Wherefore, Lord? Whereunto was I born then? Or why was not my mother's womb then my grave, that I might have seen the travail, excuse me, that I might not have seen the travail of Jacob and the wearisome toil of the stock of Israel."
We
You know what
don't
I'm
know
saying?
who
That reminds, yeah, go ahead.
we don't know who Esdras is. We don't know who Esdras is today. We don't know who he was before he was Esdras. But based off that question, you know what I'm saying? It's good that the Lord don't open our minds to what happened to us before. Because he was like, well, why couldn't I just be a stillborn so I could not see all that?
Yep.
Clearly, he saw it before, and the Lord didn't open him up to that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You know what I'm saying? And this is,
Yeah.
yeah, this is the thing that, you know, the tough thing about it, man, you know what I'm saying? The flesh, I said it already, but the flesh is so weak, you know, one demon could throw off the whole thing. So the Lord got to build your spirit up for, for certain trials before you actually get brought to face him. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Kind of like you never know what you're capable of. You know what I mean? People, they say people they don't believe in don't believe in themselves, they don't even know their true potential. You know what I'm saying? You gotta believe, that Yahweh Shem Yahshua is dealing with you. And what the scriptures say in Philippians, I can do all things through Yahweh Shem Mashiach, you know. But this is another precept here in Job. Okay. This is Job chapter 3 and 10, because Job was catching hell. He was like, damn, you know, if I was meant to go through this, right? I might as well have been a stillborn. That's the same thing with that Ezra was saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
damn, if we had to go through this shit, I'd rather just not even exist. You know? You know what I'm saying? But it says, Job 3 and 10, it says, um, I'm sorry, verse 11, why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly?
Yep. And the
You know?
Lord's answer to that is because I got a plan for you.
Con,
I'm using you for something. You know what I'm saying? that's what it is at the end of the day. That's what I'm saying. The Lord bet on Job. The Lord bet on us. You know what I'm saying? He bet that my men ain't gonna fold, no matter what. So for him to make that bet, for him to win that bet, he can do whatever he wants. He can give us spiritual power. He can do whatever he wants. You know what I'm saying? He can beam us up. He can give us spiritual power. He can do whatever he wants to make sure he win that bet.
con.
Cause bro, we did it. That's what I'm saying. We living out what was already written.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Look, before all of this was created, the Lord had what he had and how it was gonna go. Just like Ridley Scott write a movie. That's what I'm saying. He put the characters in there to do. He wrote lines for all the characters. He made all the characters. Okay, this person gonna be this. This person gonna be that. He did all that before anything existed.
Yep. And it talks
In the
about that in
story,
the next chapter. Oh, my
he
bad, go
he
ahead.
wrote it in the he wrote it in the story how Jake gonna be acting right now in this point in time. You got it.
Con. Yeah, it talks about that in the next chapter too, in Second Ezra 6. But these are things that we understand being through, interactions like this. So it says, hold on, where was I at here? Oh, all right. This is verse 35. All right, it says, and he said unto me, thou canst not. And I said, wherefore, Lord? Whereunto was I born then? Or why was not my mother's womb then my grave, that I might not have seen the travail of Jacob and the wearisome toil of the stock of Israel? And he said unto me, number me the things that are not yet come, gather me together the dross that are scattered abroad, make me the flowers green again that are withered, open me the places that are closed, and bring me forth the winds that in them are shut up. Show me the image of a voice, and then I will declare to thee the thing that thou laborest to know. Same thing we went into last week. Basically, it was a request. Ezra was asking something that basically is of heavenly things. You know, and the angel was letting them know, hey, look, you're inquiring of these heavenly things. You're, you're not obligated to this answer, but we're going to help you to understand it. Being that you're actually, sincere. But just know and understand these are similar. These are similar things that you're asking of me. You're asking of me things that are really uh, not really easy for you to do. These questions that you're asking are tough. Tough questions for the mortal man to understand. But Ezra was in the spirit, right? So it says, verse 38, and I said, O Lord that bearest rule, who may know these things, but he uh but he that hath not his dwelling with men. Only the Lord knows, man. Right? It says,
And the
and now
Lord
that
know,
Esau can do these things about here you go.
the Lord shares his secrets with his servants, the prophets.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm saying. Esdras was getting things that other people wasn't getting. And just like it
That's
said,
right.
Daniel was like, I was sick as hell and couldn't even tell nobody because wouldn't nobody understand it.
Yep. Yeah, kind.
You see, the
All right,
Esdras kept
continue.
telling Esdras, I fasted for 7 days. Esdras had to fast for 7 days just to fully understand what the angel laid down. It took him a week to recover.
Yep.
It took him a week
Yep.
to
Kind.
recover from the information that he was given. Go ahead.
It says, verse 39, as for me, I am unwise. How may I then speak of these things whereof thou askest me? Then he said unto me, like as thou canst do none of these things which that I have spoken of, even so canst thou not find out my judgment, or in the end the love that I promised unto my people. Right? Um, Isaiah 64. That's Isaiah 64 and 4 real quick. Right? All right. This is Isaiah 64 and 4. It says, for since the beginning of the world, men have not heard nor perceived by the ear, neither hath I seen, O Yahweh Shem Shah, beside thee, what he hath prepared for him that waiteth for him. You see? So, that's the reason why we're in this truth, man, because um, pursuing the second Corinthians chapter 4, you know, this is a light affliction, you know what I'm saying? Compared to what we're going to receive in the spirit. Okay. And the angel was explaining this to Ezra. Okay. It says, excuse me, and I said, verse 41, and I said, behold, O Lord, yet thou art nigh unto them that be reserved till the end. Right? And what shall they do? They do that have been before me, or that we now, or excuse me, or that be now, or they that shall come after us. You know, like he said, look, I understand that you're closer than to love you. You know what I'm saying? And the elect, he understood the concept of, there being a number of men that's going to be delivered, from this whole, from this whole thing, this whole flesh thing. Okay. And he's like, well, but what happened with the righteous men from before, like Abraham, you know what I mean? The righteous men from before, or those that are here now, or like, what's going to happen, uh, to those that are still here after, right? And he said unto me, I will liken my judgment to a ring, as there is no slackness of the last, even there is no swiftness of the first. Okay. So a circle or a ring is perfect. Okay. It's a perfect judgment. And there's no sides to it, but at the same time, an infinite amount of sides, And so basically, reincarnation. Okay. Reincarnation is how the Lord judges, through bringing back souls, and everybody's going to get the judgment according to their works, right? So it says, and there's nothing you can do to speed that up or slow that down,
So think
right?
about this. If everything
Mm,
happens again, the first I would say with the flood, you know what I'm saying? They talk about you talk about nowadays, they talk about it's billions of people on the planet. You
yep.
know what I'm saying? Like 8 billion people on the planet. You know what I'm saying? And so back then, however many people was on the planet, only 8 made it through the flood. You know what I'm saying? And there wasn't no giants hanging on the bottom of the dam. Well, not the dam, but there ain't no situation to where the Nephilim was hanging on to the bottom of the ark for months.
Yeah.
You calculate the time from when it started raining to when the dove brought the water, brought the
Olive branch.
olive branch back. You know what I'm saying? From the time it started raining to the end, you telling me these giants held on to the bottom of the boat this whole time?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're an idiot.
Thorough.
You're an idiot. You got to go to a
Uh,
whole nother. You got to go to a whole nother realm of bullshit
Facts.
to decide you gonna teach that on Friday, nigga.
Mhm. That's right. All right. It
Fear of
says
the Lord
verse
on y'all
42.
niggas ass.
Um, God, that's right. You know, and their judgment is going to be made known
Mm-hmm.
publicly and openly too. Verse Second Ezra 5:43. It says, "So I answered and said, couldst thou not make those that have been made and be now, and for the and that are for to come at once, that thou mightest show thy judgment the sooner?"
He trying to
So
speed it
now,
up. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I said you got Jake. I would say you got Jake now trying to put it off when Esdras was 2,500 years ago trying to speed it up.
he was like, "Let's get it over with. Fuck it." You know what I'm saying? He was like, "Let's get it over with." You
Yeah.
know
Go ahead.
what I'm saying? He was like, "Yo, like, let's get this shit on and popping, man."
I'm
You know what I
telling
mean? The
you.
judgment. The
Let's do
judgment.
this.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. So it says in verse 44, then answered he me and said, the creature uh may not haste above the maker. You know what I'm saying? So the pot, can't say to the Lord, why hast thou made me thus? You know what I'm saying? Why have you made me an Israelite? Why hast thou made me a heathen? Why have you made me whatever role whatever your lot is in this earth? You cannot strive, against Yahweh Shem Yahshua on things that he already planned from before we even exist, right? So that's why the scriptures say, he that believeth will not make haste in Isaiah, because we believe and we understand that it's going to take a certain amount of time before we get out of here, man. But Ezra, he was heavy in the spirit. And that's why, you know, I mean, I'm sure you can attest to this, Aquan, knowing that like we're so far along in prophecy, it really gives you like a sense of like calm, like you can breathe, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we already know we fell away, we already know the MOTB is here, like we know like any moment, you know what I'm saying, this thing could pop off, so it's not like we have to worry about dying in this world and then coming back in a reincarnation, 100 years later, or what, you know what I mean? Like, we already know, like, nah, we believe this is the according to prophecy,
This
these are
is
the
it.
last. Yeah, kind of. You know what I'm saying? We truly believe that this is our last incarnation here in the flesh, in this corruptible flesh,
Yeah.
right? So it says verse in the middle of verse 44, neither may the world hold them at once that shall be created therein. Okay. And that part, is letting you know. So just to understand, obviously reincarnation, but every spirit that has been on the earth has been on the earth multiple times. So you can't um, make multiple reincarnations of the same spirit come on the earth at the same time. Every spirit had to have their own incarnation, if that makes sense.
That's what I'm saying.
In
You can't change the movie when you're looking at the DVD.
the
You
right.
that was it. When you on demand and you watching the movie, it tells you can fast forward and rewind is not available for this on this apparatus. You got to
Mm,
watch it. And was if you don't want to watch it, turn it off, but it's still gonna go on. You
that's
see,
right.
you
That's right.
can't fast forward and you can't rewind. And Ezra's found that out. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Go ahead.
That's right. Okay. It says verse 45, and I said, thou hast said unto thy servant that thou, which givest life to all, hast given life at once to the creature that thou hast created, and the creature bear it. Even so, it might not, excuse me, even so, it might now also bear them that be now present at once. So basically, Ezra was saying, look, you said in earlier, like, about the Lord's judgment being like unto a ring, you know what I'm saying, right? And so, with that being said, that I mean, can't that ring hold everybody at the same time? Can't the earth hold everybody at the same time? Because he understood that the earth was where judgment took place too. He wasn't on that hell bullshit. burning eternally in hell. No, he understood, right? And he was like, didn't you just tell me that one day you would bring back to life every creature that ever lived? You know what I'm saying? If the world can hold them all at that time, why can't it hold them now? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it says, he was kind of not arguing, but he was trying to make a case like, look, you sure? You know what I'm saying? Right? And it says, and he said unto me, ask the woman of a man, excuse me, Salaki. It says, ask the womb of a woman and say unto her, if thou bringest forth children, and why doest thou it not together, but one after another? Pray her therefore to bring forth 10 children at once.
Generations. That's the
Yeah.
same. That's the way. That's the best way to describe generations. That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
So you telling me? You telling me that women? I'm saying women can only be pregnant 9 months at a time, even if they had triplets. They can. They can't have no more kids until after them come out.
Right.
Liking that into the generations. You see, each generation there's been an elect. Each
Hmm.
generation there's been a heathen. Each generation. That's what I'm saying. So that ring that you was talking about, that's what Esdras is finally eventually going to understand. But it's taking more questions for him to get there. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? It's just like, bro, it ain't no different than we when I first met you. All the questions that you had, they came back to back to back to back to back, and then it eventually, as you continue to grow, you was getting understanding more and more and more on those questions. But it didn't all come at the same time.
No.
It took years for you to have the understanding that you have now. It took years for me to have the understanding that I have now. The Lord already know it.
Right.
And
Con,
you got it.
con, that's right. Well, that's why, the scriptures say, desire the sincere milk.
Hmm.
You don't want to choke on the meat, you know what I mean, at a time that's too, before your time, man. You want to be a you 4 years old, you trying to be a family man already. You know what I'm saying? You trying to
Man.
go to work and all this stuff. Like, you're not ready for that yet. You will be in the future, but that's just the way that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua designed it. Okay, so that helped Ezra understand, like, you know, a woman's design destined to have, she can have 2 children, but not all at the same time, right? It says, and I said, verse 47, she cannot, but must do it by distance of time. You see that? So we understand that a certain amount of time has passed. We understand that we're in the last section, okay, of the last section that was predetermined, from the foundation of the earth to happen before the judgment, comes and transpires and takes place, right? So Ezra's now, he's starting to understand this, right? So it says, verse 48, then said he unto me, even so have I given the womb of the earth to those that be sown in it their times, right? The scripture said in Job chapter 14, the Lord said at his bounds where he cannot pass. Every man has a certain amount of time here on this earth, under the specific, if he's in rulership, he has a certain amount of time in rulership. The only group of people, that's going to have anything for eternity is the nation of Israel, starting with the elect. Okay, all right. So, verse 49, it says, "For like as a young child may not bring forth the things that belong to the aged, even so have I disposed the world. Uh, even so have I disposed the world which I created." Right. So that's how the Lord set it up. Okay, time is the thing that, we cannot, like you said, Zaquan, cannot be sped up, slowed down, rewinded, fast forwarded, skipped. Okay, there's Esau. He imagine if Esau had control of time, man. He like that movie. What was that movie, man? Damn, what was the name of that movie? Basically, at the beginning of the movie, they kidnapped. What's the name of that lady? Damn, she was in all of them movies in the late 2010s. She was in Django. She played the slave, Django's wife in Django. Damn, what's the name of that lady, man?
Oh yeah, I know who you talking about. I can't think of her name.
You know what I'm talking about, right? His wife,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not in Django, but there was another movie that if a brother
Kerry
listening,
Washington.
that's her. Yeah, she used to be, like 10 years ago, she was the hot shit. For 15, I'll say,
Yeah,
10 to 15 years
she
ago,
had a nice
she
little
was she
run.
was on point. Yeah, yeah, and but she did a movie. I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was she got in the beginning of the movie. She was a higher what's the word? Well off Eve chick living in the world, and basically she got kidnapped. She was in an Uber and she got kidnapped, and she got sent to this when she woke up she got sent to this slate like this plantation where like niggas was picking cotton and everything. They had niggas picking cotton. I can't remember the name of that movie, Zaquan. If you haven't seen it, it's a trip. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
I haven't. I don't think I've seen that one.
it shows you like, it makes you think like, damn, if Esau really could have it his way, they try to make it like only certain Edomites think like that. But if Esau could really have it his way, man, he'd have it back to where it was, no electricity, no cell phones, just straight. You know what I'm
No,
saying? Niggas,
that's
niggas,
he's
yeah.
trying to do that. He's trying to do that now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Go back to get the birthright. If he could travel back in time, he gonna go back to Jacob and Esau. If he
Hmm.
could travel back in time, he gonna, you know what I'm saying? He gonna be like, no, he would set it up to where he could kill Jacob before. You know what I'm saying? Supplanted him. You know what I'm saying? Just like Cain, he was trying to wipe Abel out. He was like, nah, we finna get this. You know what I'm saying? He would go back to those moments.
Hmm.
But the Lord ain't gonna allow that.
Yeah. The name of the movie is what's this damn movie? Uh, Django the Last. No, it's not that. It's Conf- Damn, I don't know why it's not finding it. Okay, whatever. I thought I had it on ChatGPT, but it's not. It's not pulling up. But if a brother knows which movie I'm talking about, And anyway, I guess she started a lot of. I guess she started a lot of like old school like slavery movies because they put a list of like 5 different movies, but neither of those was the one I was wanting. But if Esau could have it, man, his way, he would go back to that. He would go back, to slavery times, right? And so it says, verse 50, it says, and I asked and said, seeing thou hast now given me the way, right? So now Ezra, he's getting it now. He's like, okay, like I understand, like, what I mean, it takes time, you can't control it, the Lord set it up that way. So he's starting to understand, starting to understand that now. It says, I will proceed to speak before thee. So now he's kind of, making a case, right? For our mother, of whom thou hast told me that she is young, draweth nigh unto age. And he answered me and said, because he's like, look, like, all right, like you saying that everything has a certain amount of time. Well, shit, the earth, that's the mother he's talking about, uh, is drawing on age, like it's starting to get up there. You know what I'm saying? Was that post something postpartum or some shit? When you hit like 35, whatever the term is. Kevin Samuels will use it a lot. I don't know if it's post.
No, uh,
I think it's postpartum pregnancy or some shit like that. But getting up
no,
there.
that's
You know what I'm
no,
saying?
that's no, that's when they wild out after the baby born.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Geriatric pregnancy. I think right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Old. That's when somebody old get pregnant.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Geriatric. He's like, look, the Earth is getting old. Shit, it's about time coming up, ain't it? That's what he's. He understood. Okay.
Not even close.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Ezra was looking at things from his lifetime, like
Yeah.
his
Oh well,
lifespan.
shit.
Yeah, it was still things that had to take place.
Oh,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And because remember, even the apostles, like they was like, look, are you gonna deliver Israel now? Like, what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You came back now, you're
Hasten the
gonna deliver.
day.
Yeah.
Yep. Hasten the day.
Okay. Uh all right, so here we go. Verse 51. Um, and he answered me and said, ask a woman that beareth children, and she shall tell thee. Say unto her, wherefore are unto they whom thou hast now brought forth like those that were before, but of less stature. You know, basically, the younger children don't grow as strong and tall as the other ones. You know, as the older ones, the ones that she had in the strength of her youth, right? So it says, "Say unto her, wherefore are unto they whom thou hast not brought forth like unto those that were before, but of less stature. And she shall answer thee that be born in the strength of youth. Excuse me. And she shall answer thee, they that be born in the strength of youth are of one fashion, and they that are born in the time of age, right, or geriatric pregnancy. So you got a woman that gets pregnant at the age of 20 or whatever, and another one that gets pregnant at 40, them babies going to come out different. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of times, you know, if the woman has the seed, right, has the child, you know, that womb is getting weaker. It says when the womb faileth, right, right. So it's losing its strength. Okay, that's why we are so weak, you know, in this flesh. You know, it's basically getting weaker and weaker. And I want to get this precept real quick. Revelation Revelation chapter 2, and I mentioned this earlier, but I'm gonna get it real quick. Revelation 2 and 5, it says, "Remember therefore from whence thou art fallen." You know, we used to be, you know, a great sovereign nation. If you want to look at various different parts in our history, you can go to multiple times where we were on top more so than we are at this time. Basically, we've never been in a lower state as a nation. You know, now that we have this truth, yeah, like that's the only good thing we have going for us. You know what I'm saying? And that lets you know we're in the last days of the last days. And that's the only thing that gives us hope to even continue here, right? So, but it says, yeah, remember therefore from whence thou art fallen, okay, and repent and do the first works. You know, again, you know, this is going into even like once you come into truth, when you first come into the truth, you know, you on fire, and then you might get a little, you know, you might your flame might get a little weak, you know what I'm saying? And you go back and you remember the level of fervor that you had, you know, when you first came into the truth, and you know snap into it, you know, you snap into it, you know what I'm saying? You know, out of fear that the Lord will take that wisdom and knowledge you know, from you, right? You know, but another thing too, when it says remember from whence thou art fallen, I like to think about that, like how we were like just like I quoted it earlier in Second Peter, you know, the angels that changed their first estate. You know, that's talking
Yep,
about
the sons of God. Yeah, the
yeah,
sons of God going off. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? That's what the Napoleon is all about. You know what
that's
I'm
it.
saying? That's what the Nephilim is all about. It's about the sons of God going off and losing their way. You
Hmm.
see? It ain't got nothing to do with extra large motherfuckers holding on to a boat for 2 or 3 months underwater.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, come on, man. Come on. You know what I'm saying? That sounds so white.
Hmm.
Yeah, what are the whack ass white people is going on here, nigga? Go
Hmm.
ahead.
Right. All right. Let me go back here to the last couple verses. Antebellum. Damn that. Hold on. No, is that it? Antebellum?
That's okay. That ain't Kerry Washington. That's why
No,
you
it's
couldn't
not. It's
find the
not. It's
shit.
not. It's not.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not.
yeah. That's yeah. I figured that's what you was looking for, but I ain't want to
Okay. Damn,
overstep.
it
But
wasn't. It
yeah,
wasn't Kerry
Antebellum.
Washington.
Yeah, it's what's the chick with the funny hair? I think she a singer.
Yeah, yeah. Janelle Monet. Janelle
There you
Monet.
go. Yeah, there you
It's
go.
all right. Dang. So that's why I couldn't find it. Okay, she do kind of look. She kind of had that Kerry Washington swag in this movie. But yep, that's the movie. Damn, that
Yeah,
came out in
they could be
2020.
cousins.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Janelle Monae Salaki. That movie Antebellum. That's the one. So you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I done seen that. Yeah,
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what Esau.
yeah. That shit was wild.
That's what he wanted. He wanted to go back to that shit, man. So
make
this
a,
devil gotta
make
go.
make America great again.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's the mega that he's talking about, right?
Yeah.
So basically, you know, it says in here in Second Ezra 5 and verse 54, it says, "Consider thou therefore also that ye are of less stature than those that were before you, and so are they that come after you less than ye." Right? So it's a constant decline. That's why, man, you know, we in a lower state. Like when you really think about it, if we knew, you know, what, like if we knew like where we was at back then, You know what I'm saying? Even in this flesh, back during like shit, we was living hundreds of years, you know what I'm saying? Before and after the flood, you know what I'm saying? So we had strength. And as the world continued to wax worse and worse, or older and older and worse, we our lifespans got cut shorter and shorter. Abraham lived to what, 160 something? That would never happen today. Esau having 10 heart transplant and dropping dead at 90, you know?
Then with all this GMO and all this poison, they trying to kill you. Yeah, I
Hmm.
would say shit. By the time you, I would say by the time you graduate from high school, you all fucked up.
Yeah, kind of. That's it. Basically, you already smoking cigarettes and shit. Like, damn.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Looking like Pony Boy from what's the name of that shit? That book?
Man.
Niggas was smoking cigarettes at 14, you know.
Man, look.
Go. But anyway, it says verse 55, and so are they that come after you less than ye, as the creatures which now begin to be old have passed over the strength of youth. So past their prime, you know what I'm saying? Like, Floyd Mayweather, like, you know what I'm saying? He will never be able to obtain, or Mike Tyson, never be able to obtain, to that former glory that they had. You know what I'm saying? That lets you know that this world is going to have to be renewed. Okay,
I'm pretty sure Michael Jordan can't take off from the free throw line no more.
hell no. His eyes yellow as a motherfucker. That nigga got mustard eye. You know what I'm saying? So he ain't got it no more. I could probably beat that nigga. You know? You know what I'm saying? No shade, because in his prime he was that nigga. You know?
Oh man, he said that boy
So
got mustard eyes.
you know what I'm saying? Through. He got that meme now when he just crying and shit. You know?
Oh man, that's why. That's a good one.
So in this last verse, in verse 56, it says, then said I, Lord, I beseech thee, if I have found favor in thy sight, show thy servant by whom thou visitest thy creature. Or another way to say it, like in the GNT, it says in verse 56, if you please, Lord, will you show me the one through whom you will bring judgment on your creation? Okay, and that's the end of this chapter. And we already know chapter 6. We'll probably have to break that up into two as well.
Mm-hmm.
But going into how the Lord created the earth, and He predestined everything before He created everything. Like, and ultimately it was Yahweh Shah that really created it. That's why the scriptures say He's the only begotten Son. And it's going to go into that. But this is the next chapter in chapter 6 is going to cover how how Bashem Yahweh Shai is going to bring the end of the world. Okay. And so Ezra, from at the beginning of this chapter to now the end, he has a certain level of understanding. He has a certain level of understanding now than when he first started. So he's starting to ask more, more advanced questions now.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it on that. Let me see here. Yeah, that was all the precepts I had as well. Pretty sure we've been going about an hour by now.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
all I got.
yeah, so hey man, Lord willing, Abaratazah, this was a edifying lesson. All right, and Abaratazah, we'll get into the next chapter next week. All right, with that, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Chakwadash. The honors to the apostles and those who make millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.
Shalom.